A very good day to you people. My name is Mohit, and guys, today I'm going to show you uh, a little more on compound rules. This is part 3 of working with compound rules in Dreamweaver. Guys, I have a document open in front of you, and this document has 2 paragraphs. They are identical paragraphs, guys. The only difference is the first one uses the class red, which has not been defined, and the second paragraph also uses a class, but it has the class green. Okay, again not been defined. Alright, so guys, we are going to talk about selection pseudo class selector. Now what exactly does it mean? Things will become clear when I make a new CSS rule. So let me click on the new CSS rule button, drop down the contextual selector to a compound, and then let me type p dot red. So basically I'm telling that I'm targeting all the paragraphs that use the class red, and then I'm going to use the colon character twice, and then I'm going to say selection. Okay, and let me then say OK, and go to the background section, give a background color #FCC, and the font color as 900. I'm going to say OK. Let me click on the new CSS rule button once again, drop down the contextual selector to a compound, and this time p dot green. So basically affecting all the paragraphs that use a class green. Okay, the class green has not been defined, guys. Okay, then a colon twice and the word selection. You may be wondering, what is this selection? What kind of a selection are we talking about? Will become very clear very soon. Okay, then I'm gonna say OK, and the font color as, let's say, 060, background as a mild green color. Let me say OK. Let me take a preview in Google Chrome. Alright, let me select the first paragraph and the second one as well. Wonderful. So guys, this is the selection that we are talking about. I'm actually changing the default way in which the selection appears. Okay, in which you highlight some text. This is not the way things appear when you do it normally. I'm sure you know that. Okay, so this feature might go unnoticed by most viewers of your website, but to those who actually latch onto it will be pleasantly surprised, of course. Okay, and it has its uses too. Let me go back to Dreamweaver. Guys, I have yet another file open in front of me, and it has 4 more selectors that we will talk about. The first selector is the not selector. Let's see what it means. Let me click, in fact let me first create an unordered list. Okay, so clicking on this unordered list icon, item 1, item 2, tab, item 3, and item 4. So it's a 2-tier or a 2-level unordered list. And if I actually check things out in the code area, guys, this was the code generated. Okay, it has the opening and closing UL tags here, and there is yet another unordered list inside the first one, the parent one. So it's a nested UL list, guys. Okay, very good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say a class. I'm going to type in a class, inject a class here, insert a class here, and the class should be called bullets. Okay, you can name it whatever you want. Then let me go to the new CSS rule, drop down the contextual selector to a compound, which will be based on my selection, and my selection says that I want all the UL elements which have the class or rather yeah, that's okay, which have the class bullets, or instead let me keep it simple. Let me just create a class here, and class called bullets. Okay, let me say OK, and go to the list category, choose browse for the image number 3.gif, and say OK. Guys, let me show it to you in the live view. Okay, item 1, 2, 3 and the fourth item, which is by mistake item number 2, should actually be item number 4 here. Okay, all of them have the same bullet. That's because the nested UL list obviously falls inside the first one, the parent one, which has the class bullets. So basically everything has been passed on that rule. So even the nested UL items have the same rule applied to it. Okay, how can I actually overcome that? I can do so using the not selector. Alright guys, notice that although the first UL tag has the class bullets, the second UL tag in line number 25 does not use the same class. Okay, so I'm going to make full use of that. Let me say a new CSS rule, a compound rule, and then let me say UL colon not bullets. So basically I'm telling Dreamweaver that please affect all the UL tags or all the UL elements that do not use the class bullets. That's exactly what I mean. Okay, let me then say OK and go to the list category, browse for the other image, say OK. Let me show it to you in the live view. Wonderful. So item 1 and 2, which have the class bullets, have a different bullet. Item 3 and 4, which do not share the class bullets, okay, have a different bullet. All very good. So now let's talk about E1 greater than E2. Basically when E2 is a child, a direct child of element 1, in such a scenario the rule should affect element 2. If things are not clear now, they will become very clear very soon. Let me click on this new CSS rules button, compound as the contextual selector type, then let me say how about big, and then a KBD. Whenever a keyboard or a KBD element falls inside the big element, rather I want to use a greater than sign out here. Okay, it means then whenever the keyboard element is the direct child of the big element. Okay, when I say direct child, I mean it should not be a grandchild, it should not be a grandchild, it should not be a descendant, it should be the first child. The keyboard tag or the keyboard element should be the first child of the big tag or the big element. Only then please apply the rule. Then I'm going to say OK, and let me say a color for the font as a #900, a size of, let's say or let me just italicize it and transform it to an uppercase and say OK. Alright, let me come off the live view and write some text here. So I'm gonna say this is some text and this is some more text. Alright, let me highlight this bit, let me right click, and let me then say wrap tag and wrap it with big. Okay, enter twice, 1 2. Okay, if I check in the code area, I don't need these p tags. I'll remove the p tags. All I want is the big tags, okay, around my text. Wonderful. And then I want a keyboard tag as well, so I'm going to select this some text, okay, right click and say wrap text, and then I'm going to say a KBD for the keyboard tag, keyboard element, KBD, enter twice, 1 2. Okay, now guys, as you can notice that it is now italicized and has the color a #900. So the rule that I'd created, big greater than KBD, means that if the keyboard element is the direct child of the big element, please apply the rule, and that's exactly what has happened. This some text has now acquired the formatting. Wonderful. But what if this some text was not the direct child of the first child, but was instead a grandchild? I can show it to you. If I wrap this opening and closing keyboard tags with some other element, let's say an A or anchor tag on both the sides, okay, the rule should get disabled. So indeed, okay, this some text does not acquire the formatting, then let me show it to you in the live view. Okay, wonderful. But guys, let me do something here. Let me remove this rule. Let me dump this rule. Let me create one more rule, and let me drop down the contextual selector to a compound. Let me then say a big space KBD. So basically I'm telling Dreamweaver that if the big elements reside or fall inside the KBD elements, please apply the rule. Okay, so if KBD element is the descendant of big, not exactly a child but a descendant, so it could be a grandchild or a grandchild, the rule should still apply. I'm going to say okay, and let me apply the same rule, so the same color and uppercase and italicize it. Okay, I'm going to say okay, and guys, the formatting has returned, as you can see. Okay, so checking it out in the live view. So that's the difference between a child selector and a descendant selector. I'm sure you have understood that. So let's talk about the X after the after selector. What exactly X? Basically, when I say X or when I say E, basically I'm talking about any element. Okay, so let's see what X after and X before mean. For that, guys, let me remove this list, this bulleted list, because I'm going to create one more bulleted list, and for whatever reason I don't want there to be a conflict. Let me remove the two rules created earlier as well pertaining to bullets. Okay, just to be on the safe side, I don't want there to be any conflict. Let me create one more unordered list. So item 1, rather let me say English, let me say maths, and do you like algebra? Okay, algebra. Okay, alright. X, let me talk about X before. Basically, let me show it to you through an example. So clicking on the new CSS rule, dropping down the contextual selector to a compound, let me say li colon, and then let me say before. I'm reserving the explanation and will do so after a while, after I complete my example. That will make it much more clear. So li colon before, let me say okay, and I'm not going to use this dialog box to pass in any CSS rules. I'm going to say okay straight away. Okay, but instead I'm going to hand code it. So I'm going to say content, and a content could be a picture or it could be some text. So I'm going to use some text here. Then I'm going to say in opening quotes, I'll type opening quotes, then write the word subject here, subject, and a colon, a space, and a closing quote out here. Okay, and then semicolon. That's it. Let me click on the refresh button, guys. Okay, and the moment I click on the live view button, guys, you should notice that some text has now been prefixed before the words English, maths, and algebra. Okay, that's exactly what this before rule does. What it does is, using the compound rules, I'm telling Dreamweaver, hey Dreamweaver, please pass in some content. Okay, that content could be a picture, and or it could be some text. So what I've done, I've passed in this word subject using this rule here. Here. Okay, I passed in some subject. So guys, I'm not going to explain this after rule. It works just the same way. Okay, I'm sure you can use your faculties and come up with something. Guys, also you can get very creative with this before and after thing. You can do a lot with this. Okay, so guys, this was the last part of Dreamweaver CS5 compound rules. I hope you liked all these three parts, and basically it appended to your knowledge. I seriously hope that. I hope you had fun with these 3 parts. I'll see you next time with yet another Dreamweaver tutorial, or it could be Flash with ActionScript 3. Peace. Bye bye.